Hi everyone, my name is Amanda Wherry, and the book I chose for my review is Momfluenced, Inside the Maddening, Picture-Perfect World of Mommy Influence Culture by Sarah Peterson. As a mom myself, this book hit close to home. It looks at how social media, especially Instagram and TikTok, has completely changed how we view motherhood. Those perfect posts of spotless homes, smiling kids, and moms who somehow have it all together might look harmless, but Peterson argues they've created a whole new kind of pressure. I chose this book because I think every mom, including myself, feels that pull sometimes to make life look better and easier than it actually is. Peterson helps us unpack why that happens and what it's really costing us. Sarah is a mother of three. She is a well published writer who taught at Plymouth State University, where she also received her master's degree in education. Although Sarah claims to not be influenced by social media moms, she has some great insight and interviews in this book. It allows her to deep dive into why and how so many of us are sucked into this alternate reality. She also gives some great tools to help you realize that motherhood is hard and not always, or really ever, picture perfect like we see on the social media platforms. Peterson's main argument is that motherhood has become a performance. She says social media encourages moms to present their lives as both aspirational and relatable. Her line, the momfluencer archetype, blurs the line between authenticity and performance, really sums it up. Moms online are expected to be genuine but still picture perfect, and that tension keeps us in a constant loop of comparison. What I appreciated most is that Peterson doesn't blame moms for this. She blames the culture that rewards perfection, where even exhaustion has to look aesthetically pleasing. She also writes, "We perform motherhood for ourselves." That one hit close to home because it's not just about showing others our lives, it's about convincing ourselves that we're doing an okay job as moms. This picture up in the right hand corner of the apple sums up social media. You are able to put out whatever you want. So you can put out the picture perfect apple, the picture perfect picture, life, motherhood, so on and so forth. But in reality, you have a bite. You have things on the backside. Your life isn't perfect. That's the same as the one that's down here on the left, too. This is what Instagram gets to see. This is what your followers, this is what the people that you have on Facebook, so on, that's what they get to see. They don't get to see that mom is having a breakdown because the kids are fighting with each other and things like that. So it's really interesting how social media is being used to kind of twist motherhood and make it seem like it's not okay for these times over here on the left to be happening. What makes Momfluenced stand out is how it blends journalism, sociology, and personal experience. Uh, Peterson interviews moms, marketing experts, and psychologists to show how consumer culture and motherhood have totally become intertwined. The book doesn't just critique, it connects. It feels like having a deep, honest conversation with another mom who gets it. And from my own personal love of this book, the fact that she's not afraid to sometimes throw some vulgar language in there just allows you to understand that moms can still be moms and still have conversations with other adults. I'm not quite sure how to explain that otherwise. But here, like, Peterson's voice is relatable and honest, but she still is sharp, and she makes you stop and then think about your own habits that are happening online. This book was written for modern women, especially moms who are online or feel pressure to keep up. A lot of the books that you read about these are pre-COVID, and this one is actually interesting because it was written in 2023, and so it is a little bit after COVID. So TikTok is just starting to take off. Instagram and Facebook are kind of starting to fall to the shadows a little bit. And so it's interesting to kind of see the perspective of life at that point and what the differences are and how things have not actually changed in those multiple years. I also think that teachers, marketers, or anyone curious about how social media shapes identity could relate to this book. Peterson's tone is warm and familiar. It's never really feeling preachy. You're constantly wanting to learn more from her and listen to the insight that she has and listen to the interviews that she's being given. She uses examples like Pinterest parties, influencer partnerships, and everyday parenting posts to show how these expectations sneak into our daily lives. As a mom, I found myself nodding so many times and saying, yes, yep, because I've definitely felt the same pressure to have everything look a certain way and be concerned about the judgment if it's not that picture perfect house, family, picture, life, etc. One of the most powerful sections is where Peterson zooms out to the bigger picture. She reminds us this isn't new. Society has always defined what a good mother should look like. In the 1950s, moms were expected to stay home, take care of the kids, have lunches packed, have the house cleaned, you know, just have clothes sewn, so on and so forth. And in her words, it was the perfect homemaker in pearls. Now it's the effortless mom with matching outfits and minimalistic decor. Peterson writes, motherhood has always been surveilled. Now the surveillance is self-imposed. Then she adds, the ideals of motherhood were not created for you. That puts it into perspective. These impossible standards aren't natural. They're designed, and we've been taught to measure ourselves against them. It's exhausting, and seeing her name that pressure out loud felt validating. We are being pushed from here to there with no appreciation, and the second that you open your phone, you almost are reminded of how bad of a mom you are. When in reality, no one thinks that but yourself. Peterson argues that this all happens or matters because it's not just about pretty pictures. It's about how we feel and value ourselves as women. The quote, we consume the illusion of control that perfect images promise, really stuck with me because I've definitely had those moments where if things look okay online, it feels like I'm doing okay in life, but the illusion fades fast. She also admits, I love my kids, but I often don't love being a mother. I think so many women can relate to that, honestly. It's not that about a lack of love. It's about the impossible expectations that make motherhood feel like a performance instead of an experience. Peterson says the power of visuals just cannot be understated. That ties in perfectly with how social media drives this phenomenon. The pictures of themselves become the proof of our worth. Research backs her up. Pew Research Center found that over 80% of moms with young kids use social media daily, and most say it adds pressure to appear put together. The Atlantic, Peterson said she wanted to understand why we keep participating in a culture that drains us, and the answer often comes back to marketing and comparison. The New York Times even called the momfluencer world an economy built on guilt, which fits perfectly with what she describes, a system that profits from mothers' insecurities. So overall, Momfluenced really made me think differently about how I use social media and what kind of an example I'm setting for my kids. My biggest takeaway is that motherhood isn't about performing, it's about being present. The more we chase an image, the less we enjoy the real moments that make it all worth it. I'd recommend this book to any mom who's ever felt pressure to be perfect or anyone trying to understand how social media shapes who we are. It's relatable, honest, and kind of freeing to read. Thank you for watching. And remember, motherhood isn't a brand, it's a relationship.